Peace, beautiful people. It is I, Shogun K, back like broad strats, 4 flats on the Cadillac. Sheesh, I'm here with it, back with another video. Today's video is entitled, Killer Realizes She's Been Caught 23 Years Later. If y'all seen before, I had another one. The guy was like 45 years later and got caught. This time, it's a female, and she been caught 23 years later. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to your boy. It helps me out. Don't cost you nothing. Let's not waste too much time. Let's get to it.
Do you know what happened to his wife?
Yeah, I know she got killed. If you're doing this as an interrogation, you're saying, hey, I'm a suspect. Well, now I got a problem with, so now, I'm...
This is Stephanie Lazarus. She's the main suspect in a murder case that's still unsolved after...
If I ever seen somebody guilty in my life, she is guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Look at that photo. I have never seen a more guiltier face in my life. That is not a person you would let watch your kids. That ain't a person I would even let get my, what is it called? My Uber Eats. You, ma'am, I would not ride in your Uber. You could not deliver my food. You damn sure ain't pulling me over if you a cop. And you definitely ain't serving in our military unless you like Navy SEAL type, you know what I'm saying? That's going in for the kill type stuff. They say don't judge a book by its cover, but damn that, today we are judging. This cover looks evil, psychotic, and everything above. Let me know if y'all agree. Let's get to it.
After 23 years. The reason is, she's an LAPD detective. The police think she killed Sherry Rasmussen, the wife of John Rutten, a devoted husband who adores her. But on the night of February 24th, 1986, things would take a turn for the worse.
You didn't harm your wife, did you, John?
No, I didn't. Good. She had everything going. I mean, she...
Hey, so do you let her... Hey, John. What was the first thing you saw?
Saw her lying on the ground. I knew right away that she was dead.
After John claims he found his wife, Sherry, dead on the floor, investigators turn to a polygraph to see if he's telling the truth.
Now, John, she's not having any problems with an ex-boyfriend or you with an ex-girlfriend.
No.
Has anybody been hitting on her, following her home, or anything like that at all?
No.
After the interrogation, the results show John failed the polygraph, but with no concrete evidence, he's set free. For over 20 years, it remains a cold case. No arrests. Nobody knows what really happened to Sherry. But after all this time, Sherry's father becomes obsessed with discovering what happened to his daughter. As the last person to have spoken with her, he knows that their final conversation may hold the key to solving the case.
She said that the person that was following her had eyes that could penetrate you. They could see right through you.
According to Sherry's father, John's ex-
Look at them eyes. Them eyes could penetrate. You feel me? This eye is like Cyclops with the laser beam. You feel me? These eyes could slice through diamond if need be. This is a gaze. If your mother looked at you like this and said, oh, you just came home after your curfew, you might run away. Yep. If I came home and my mother said, oh, you just gonna disrespect me and break curfew and smile like this and look like this, I would have felt like her eyes have pierced through my soul and I have outstayed my welcome. All right, for real though, anybody else find it very suspicious that the husband fails the polygraph test and no arrest is made? That is diabolical. Now, this did happen back in 1986, so times was different back then. But still, if the only suspect, the husband, fails a polygraph test, how is he not arrested for something? Because we don't even know what part he failed, right? But we know now because, hindsight, we see in this video now, he obviously had a little side chick. This had to be a side chick. But he failed the polygraph test and didn't even get arrested. That's crazy. Let's keep going.
Girlfriend Stephanie, an LAPD detective, matches the description Sherry has given. Investigators are stunned because Stephanie is one of their own.
Colin, please have a seat. So, this is, I didn't want to bring this up in front of your squad, but...
I mean, if you guys are claiming that I'm a suspect, then, I got a problem with, with that. Is that what you're saying?
She don't even blink, y'all. Lord. Is it just me or do she look demonic? She don't even blink. You think I'm lying? We ain't even 2 minutes into this video and it's going crazy. She doesn't blink, y'all. Look, she does not blink. Look at her Look at the picture. She don't blink though. Watch when she start talking. Not one blink. Watch. Y'all think I'm lying. Look. Watch.
Because Stephanie is one of their own.
Come on, please have a seat. So, this is, I didn't want to bring this up in front of your squad, but...
I mean, if you guys are claiming that I'm a suspect, then, I got a problem with that. Is that what you're saying?
We're trying to figure out what happened, Stephanie.
Crazy.
Los Angeles, February 24th, 1986. 6 p.m. John Rutten returns home from work. As he approaches the townhouse, the garage door is open and his wife's car is missing. Odd, but Sherry runs the nursing wing at Glendale Adventist and emergencies are common. John climbs the steps. The front door is ajar. He pushes it open. Inside, on the living room floor, lies Sherry in a pool of blood. He picks up the phone and calls 911.
It's kind of an eerie feeling to be here after 30 plus, almost 40 years. As I walked in, I saw Sherry Rasmussen on the ground. She had been covered with a towel, and one of the paramedics raised the towel for me to see her face, and she had considerable trauma to her face. This is actually a murder.
The scene suggests a break-in, with stereo equipment scattered all across the floor. Without doing a complete examination, the officer notices that someone has tied up Sherry, bitten her deep on the left forearm, brutally struck her on the head with various objects, and shot her 3 times in the abdomen. She also left deep claw marks on the front door in some sort of desperate struggle. As he outlines all the gruesome details to his colleagues, the policeman can't help but hear quiet sobbing coming from the adjacent dining room.
I noticed John Rutten. He was sitting at the table and he seemed to be sobbing. His crying should have been more extreme, with his wife laying there on the floor dead.
When asked about his security system, John admits he forgot to set the alarm that morning and isn't sure if he locked the door.
How motherfucking convenient. So the one day, what is the chances that the one day you forget to set your alarm clock, your wife mysteriously gets murdered and you over there with a little small sob? You ain't in that joint hitting the Gina and Martin joint. No, you not. You ain't hit the with if y'all know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. But I'm saying, ain't no way the one time you forget to set the alarm clock, all this shit happened. Ain't no way. And you failed the polygraph. I ain't letting you slide with that, bro. We need to have his ass up here too, because he knows something.
Explains that Sherry was still in bed and that the neighborhood felt safe. As suspicious elements began to add up, the police couldn't help but question, why would the burglar pick a townhouse right in the middle of the street?
Burglars don't usually pick a place 5 condos from the street. They want to get away. They pick something next to the street. It's just strange that they would pick this place. I thought to myself, this is a burglary?
And why would they stop to put a towel over her face? You in the middle of a burglary. Let's say it was a burglary. She fought back. So much so that somebody bit her. Somebody's incisors, you feel me, or in her skin somewhere. So it was a fight. We saw a fingernail ripped off. It was a fight going on. What burglar will fight somebody, beat you to death with a blunt object, and then take the time to put a towel over your face instead of fighting, get what you need, and running out the door? That don't make no sense, man. So you couldn't get us with this in 2025. See, 1986, they were like, I wonder what really happened. No, see, 2025, we know better. Thank you, CSI.
Uncle John and Aunt Sherry are spending Christmas with Rachel on her first Christmas.
Sherry was all about family. Sherry was my big sister. She was my best friend. She would always encourage people, and she always exuded confidence.
I am the oldest sister of Sherry Rasmussen. My dad had called, and he told me that Sherry had been killed. I just started screaming. I couldn't believe it.
Sherry Rasmussen, a young woman with a bright future ahead of her, gifted in school. She entered college at 16, skipping 2 grades. Her father had hoped she would pursue a career in medicine, but Sherry became a nurse instead, convinced it would allow her to balance her career with the family life she longed for. By the age of 23, she had already obtained her master's degree and was teaching at UCLA.
A very good listening technique is, while you're doing it, the eye contact. That gives the nonverbal clue to the patient that you are, in fact, listening.
Everywhere, people complimented Sherry for her intelligence, calming presence, and natural leadership. By her late 20s, she had already become the director of nursing at Glendale Adventist, and in the spring of 1984, she met her future husband, John Rutten.
I first remember hearing about John when Sherry called me and told me that she had met somebody at a party. 3 weeks later, I went out there and met John for the first time. I asked John, "How did you meet Sherry?" And he told me that he saw Sherry from across the room. She had this beautiful smile and laugh. Just seeing him say that and hearing him, I was happy for Sherry.
They looked great together. They were affectionate. And I loved John because my sister loved John.
However, Sherry's dad, Nels, pushes aside these feelings when he receives the phone call announcing Sherry's passing, as it wasn't from John himself, but from his father.
Telling me that Sherry had been murdered. And so I told his dad, I want to talk to John. And he said, John doesn't feel like talking.
When the Rasmussens arrive at the police station, they finally reunite with John, but, to their surprise, he still refuses to talk, insisting that the police won't allow him. For them, the exchange is unsettling, and John's secretive attitude is difficult to read. The Rasmussens wonder if this is the reaction of a man in shock, or if he's holding back to protect himself or someone else.
I thought his behavior was odd. He wouldn't talk to us. He was more concerned about himself than about Sherry.
Basic Homicide 101. Look at the spouse. It's in her own home. Her husband had just left her that morning. She hasn't been anywhere. You don't have to be a detective to think, I wonder if he did it.
That's crazy. How you not gonna talk to the in-laws, your wife's parents? I don't care what the cops say. Their daughter just turned up unalived in our apartment condo, and I'm allegedly at work. Ain't no way I'm not calling them, telling them everything I know, and I'm probably crying hysterically. You know what I'm saying? I probably got a gun in one hand, crying hysterically. I'm trying to piece together the puzzle myself, because I'm finna figure out what happened if I ain't do it. Now, this whole thing, well, the cop said I can't say anything, so I don't want to talk to nobody. That sounds like a guilty conscience. That's crazy work. Even if I got to confide in the parents to say, hey, if I speak to you, you really can't say nothing because the cops putting pressure on me. We want to make sure when this person is caught that they can't say that I violated or did something I wasn't supposed to do. This is what happened. You know what I'm saying? This is where we are. Ain't no way I'm not talking to the parents unless you got a guilty conscience, man.
As John is escorted into an interrogation room by a detective, Nels ponders their exchange, or lack thereof. The 51-year-old is sure his son-in-law is lying because Sherry's family, friends, and colleagues all know that in the year leading up to her murder, something disturbing was happening. A strange figure in disguise was constantly stalking her.
She mentioned she had been followed 5 different times in the last week.
This person kept appearing in places that Sherry would go. She couldn't go out to the store or go to the gym without having this person show up.
And she said that the person that was following her had eyes that could penetrate you. They could see right through you.
On top of that, John's ex-girlfriend also began harassing Sherry after their wedding. A colleague of hers witnessed one of the encounters.
She told me that John's ex-girlfriend had come to her office at the hospital, dressed provocatively,
and confronted Sherry about John. And
that's the same lady with the crazy eyes? Something demonic is taking place here. This cannot be the lady we just saw with the crazy. That can't be her. This cannot be the lady that don't blink. It's some kind of demonic disfiguration, skinwalker changing thing going on with the face. This is not the same person, bruh. And they ain't even have filters back then. This is no way this is that cop we seen earlier. Ain't no, well, I see the uneven eye.
And harassing Sherry after their wedding. A colleague of hers witnessed one of the encounters.
She told me.
Now here she has nice eyes though. She does not look like the psychopath we saw before. Here she looks like a nice woman, right?
That John's ex-girlfriend had come to her office at the hospital, dressed.
Even there, she looks like she could have been modeling back in the 80s. Yeah. Yeah. If you got a picture like this back in those days, if she gave you her little picture on a keychain, you put that on your keychain wherever you go. Yeah, that's a nice looking picture right there. I don't know how she pulled it off before Photoshop, but she did.
Provocatively.
And confronted Sherry about John and said that if she couldn't have John, nobody could.
As detectives
Well, that's
question
her.
John, another officer speaks with the Rasmussens. Nels struggles to process what he's hearing. According to the authorities, thieves killed his daughter in a failed robbery where they stole nothing but her purse and car.
It wasn't a robbery. No, they couldn't convince me of it.
Nels immediately starts talking about
And how did they get the evidence for thieves, more than one? Where did they get that from? Thieves. You got footprints, you got fingerprints. What do you got to show thieves that it's multiple people doing this?
the stalking and harassment his daughter suffered during the months leading up to her murder. Still, the officer in front of him retorts that, without a name, there's nothing they can do.
Sherry never disclosed a name for the ex-girlfriend. It would have been nice had we had that, because we would have shared that with the detectives.
Nonetheless, Nels follows up with one alarming incident where John's ex-girlfriend broke into Sherry's townhouse and started fighting with his daughter in her own living room before running away.
One of the original detectives in this case told me personally they had never heard any of those alleged incidents, and none of them were entered into the official case record known as the murder book.
Wow.
I just want to thank you all for coming, and I want you to know that Sherry was the best professional in the world. She was the best wife that anybody could ever have, and she was the best sister and daughter. She wanted to make everybody happy.
This is the last time John ever speaks publicly about Sherry. In the audience, Nels Rasmussen sits filled with grief and anger. A month has passed, and the police haven't moved an inch. Nels doesn't know what John has told them, but they never consider his son-in-law a suspect. On the contrary, the police stick to their burglar theory, even stating that the Rasmussens had been watching too much TV when Nels and his family tried to convince them to investigate Sherry's stalker and John's ex-girlfriend.
The first 5 weeks, I mentioned it so many times that he kind of lost his cool with me and saying that there was no need to go there because there was nothing there.
The next month, less than a mile from Sherry's townhouse, an actual burglary took place. A woman coming home was surprised by two men inside. One ran for the door, while the other pointed a revolver at her.
Sherry Rasmussen was killed with a gun. So the question is, are they the same burglars who murdered Sherry? A police artist talked to the woman at the home who said there were two young males, and the police artist drew sketches.
Same neighborhood, same time, same weapon. However, this time, no one was hurt. Either the police were actually onto something, or fate was playing a cruel trick on the Rasmussens. Convinced the burglary and Sherry's murder are linked, detectives plaster the city with the suspects' faces. Weeks go by with no leads, then months. The police eventually find the two items the thief stole from Sherry's property, her car and purse, both cleaned free of prints. And then, silence. For almost 15 years, the Rasmussens have remained entirely in the dark.
I had come to the conclusion in my mind that it was never going to be solved, and it was something that I would have to deal with, the unknowing of what happened.
In 1991, Nels Rasmussen is back home in Arizona, still carrying the weight of Sherry's unresolved murder. Determined to get justice for his daughter, he follows every development in forensic science, watching closely as DNA testing begins to revolutionize the field. Around the same time, the case's lead detective retires, handing over his stalled investigation to someone else. For Nels, it feels like an opening. He wastes no time and contacts a new man in charge with a plan he believes could break the case.
Nels Rasmussen, reading about DNA and the advances that's brought to criminology, offers to pay for DNA testing, and the department says no.
Correct. It's just not the way the quote-unquote business end of the department works.
I
get that. You can't. I understand why. I get the father's thing. He's saying, listen, if the money behind this new DNA stuff is the issue, I'll pay for it. However, what you can't be doing is interfering in police investigations by giving them money to do stuff. You can't make your case a priority. You can't make, even though you want to, it's been 5 years, you know what I'm saying? You can't force priority on them in lieu of paying for stuff that they need technology-wise. You feel me? You just can't do that.
Nels can convince anyone at the LAPD to give his idea a shot. Something very strange happens. Various pieces of evidence related to the case mysteriously disappear. Not only that, but someone trims the murder book of half its contents on the premise that it has grown too large for the cold case office storage room. The mishandling of the case is becoming increasingly difficult for the Rasmussens to bear, who continue to try to get in touch with the police or speak with someone, anyone, who will take them seriously.
As a father, he had felt a responsibility to protect her. And the only way that in her death he could protect her was to find out who killed her. He would constantly re-dissect, the information that we knew.
For the next 10 years, every time the case changes hands, the family flies from Tucson to Los Angeles to meet the new detectives. And each time, Nels and his 2 remaining daughters return home heartbroken by their lack of progress.
They put us in an interrogation room, and they came in with a little skinny folder about this big. They did meet with us, but it was also it was like a show.
It's now November 2001. The LAPD can no longer ignore advances in forensic science and establishes a cold case unit dedicated to DNA profiling. Sherry's file, now 15 years old, lands on the desk of an overextended detective with no time to treat it properly. Instead of letting it gather dust, the case is handed off to a criminalist, Jennifer Francis. She begins combing through the boxes of evidence herself and eventually stumbles across a detailed entry about a bite mark Sherry received during the struggle with her killer.
It was a alligator clutch.
Strangely, the file claims investigators sampled only one blood type, but bite marks should always yield 2 profiles, one from the victim and one from the perpetrator. The entry seemed to suggest Sherry might have bitten herself, a theory Francis finds baffling. She knows the original detective failed to recover prints and other key evidence from the scene, but surely someone from his forensic team had swabbed the wound.
Wait a minute, did y'all hear that? So back in 1986, you got detectives who are failing to secure swabs, fingerprints, and molds of bite marks. What the hell is going on in the 80s? I couldn't find the right button. Bear with me, it's right here though. That is crazy, yo. Thank God for DNA advancements. You feel me? Thank God for that, because this is crazy. 15 years the parents have been trying to figure out what's been going on. And it's an inside job when all of a sudden evidence starts disappearing. Now, how much evidence do you think it would have had to been in this case, right? That it would take up that much of the evidence room where you had to trim down the folders? That don't even make no damn sense at all. That don't make no sense. Where does that make sense? And then it's different if you say we got to get these items off of paper and put them onto floppy disks. If you don't know what a floppy disk is, I'm a little bit older than you and you got to Google it. Don't you dare judge me. Okay? But that's crazy. Now when we start to watch these old joints like this, you can kind of see how people got away with stuff for so long, because just the detective work they wasn't Sherlock Holmes for real. They wasn't Sherlock Holmes, and it was limited on the technology. They didn't have video, evidence of getting your car going to this gas station, none of that stuff. So you really had to just go with what you had and try to get as much as you could in a little bit of time before, the scene is, 48 hours and the scene is no good, something like that. Anyways, let's get back to it.
With her boss's help, she digs through boxes upon boxes of paperwork until she uncovers an old property log from 1986, listing the crucial swab she has been searching for.
I checked with our evidence room. They didn't have it. I looked at our property reports. It's not booked.
How could that happen?
Incompetence.
That happened a lot?
Yes.
But Francis refuses to give up. She calls every coroner in the city until she finally gets a lead. After spending 6 hours combing through the morgue's freezers, an LA County coroner informs her he had found a torn envelope with its fading label damaged. Against all odds, the glass tube containing the swab was still inside, and in one piece. She immediately runs a battery of tests, and the result points to an unknown female, directly contradicting the theory of a male duo. Further down the file, Francis also learns about Nels Rasmussen and his numerous attempts to inform the police about Sherry's stalker and John's ex-girlfriend. Francis's own theory begins to take shape. What if the two were one and the same, and she was the one who bit and killed Sherry? But when Francis brings this to the detective, he dismisses it outright and adds one detail Francis has yet to learn. John's ex-girlfriend is not just any woman. She's an LAPD detective.
Ooh, do you see how she, Lord have mercy? What do y'all think when y'all see somebody like that? I know I keep stopping on this, but what do you think when you see a person like that? I can only think of pure, unadulterated evil. That's what I think of. Pure, unadulterated evil.
This plays to everybody's favorite conspiracy theory, that cops
cover for other cops.
No matter what.
You're out of your mind.
Did you tell the detectives that John's ex-girlfriend was a member of the LAPD?
Well, that's how I identified her.
Why do you think it was that detectives didn't look at John's ex-girlfriend?
I think it was because she was a police officer.
Why can't that just be sloppy police work? Why does that have to be a cover-up? Why can't that be just sort of tunnel vision and a rush to judgment?
They're more intelligent than that.
Yeah.
You got to give them more credit than that.
Unbeknownst to Nels, his only...
It seemed like hold on. Let's take this back real quick. If the husband was initially a suspect because he comes home, his wife is murdered, and he's the last person to see her, so he is always prime suspect number one, right? And he has a ex-girlfriend. It would seem like the ex-girlfriend would even be questioned about the character of John. What kind of person is he? Do you remember how he was? Did he lose his temper a lot? Can you tell us more information about John? The fact that she ain't even get questioned on that lets you know that they only didn't look her way because they was looking out for her because she was a fellow officer in blue. Yeah, that's a fact. Ain't no way you didn't even question her to get her understanding of how he operates in a relationship, right? What type of person he is in a committed relationship when he's in love with somebody. They ain't even ask her that. So you know they was covering up for her.
The ally at this time is within the LAPD. Jennifer Francis relentlessly pushes the case, first to the cold case unit, then to the scientific division, later to robbery homicide, and even to internal affairs. Yet, everywhere she goes, supervisors turn their attention not to the evidence, but to her. They question her mental state, claiming she's too emotional, paranoid, and obsessed with Sherry's case. Soon, Francis is ordered into mandatory counseling with an LAPD-sanctioned therapist, a move that, inside the department, brands her as unstable and potentially unfit for duty. Even worse, the sessions aren't at all concerned with her well-being, but rather with what she knows about the case and who she has talked to. For Francis, this is no longer a matter of paranoia or conspiracy. This feels like retaliation. A deputy DA calls her crazy, colleagues treat her as a liability, and systematically push her off major cases. Around the lab, people belittle her, telling her to get a hobby. What she doesn't realize is that she is retracing the same path as Nels Rasmussen, who, decades earlier, had also been ridiculed by the authorities, despite being the only one able to see through the conspiracy. Then, in November 2009, everything changes. Francis receives a call from robbery homicide. A detective named James Nuttall is asking about her findings. She has been waiting more than 5 years for this moment. The Rasmussens, 23. But fear holds her back. She feels like she can't trust anyone anymore. She tells the detective that she doesn't believe it was a burglary and that the evidence may have been tampered with, but she doesn't share her theory with him. Yet Nuttall has her results right in front of him and quickly puts 2 and 2 together. He knows that the only DNA not matching Sherry's belongs to another female and has already read dozens of letters Nell sent over the years, urging police to investigate John's ex-girlfriend. From this point on, the detective decides to form a secret circle within the homicide department, with Jennifer, who came to trust him over the first few months of the investigation, himself, and 3 other detectives. Nuttall sets out to prove once and for all that someone from within their ranks violently attacked and killed Sherry Rasmussen inside her own home in 1986.
When they said it was a police officer, I went, you're kidding. Absolutely kidding. A police officer committed this crime. I couldn't imagine that.
Nuttall and Francis don't waste a minute. Digging deep within the case files, they find John's original 1986 interview with the first detective in charge of the case, who, to say the least, was quick to jump to conclusions and not very insistent towards the man who should have been his first suspect.
Now, John, what is your wife's name? Sherry. You didn't harm your wife, did you?
She let everything go.
Hey, so Hey, John. John. A couple of minutes will need you to peek up for me, buddy. She's not having any problems with an ex-boyfriend or you with an ex-girlfriend. No. You're a pretty good judge of character. Sir, you have absolutely nothing to do with this.
What? You asked 2 questions, her name and if he had something to do with an ex-girlfriend or she had something to do ex-girlfriend, ex-boyfriend revenge, man. And you talking about he cried and you're a very good judge of character. How old is this detective? Sir, how old was this detective that's asking these questions with his really good hunch about people? This got to be an older person, bro. What are you talking about? Just because he's crying, you ain't get to the nitty gritty of no questions. Then why you ain't circle back once he failed the polygraph, sir? You know what? You got dirt on your jacket. There is now officially mustard on your jacket, Detective One, whoever this is. 23 years ago, you sound like you old. You might be gone yourself, but it's some mustard on your jacket. Y'all might need to go back to some of his old cases and relook at them again. Just saying.
I believe your house was burglarized today. Once this person's or that person, whoever was inside, I believe they were trying to steal your stereo. Listen here. But I've been through it a lot. I don't know. John, things happen, okay? I think Sherry came down the stairs. She surprised me. And she was hurt. She was shot. Oh. John, I know what I know it's true. Hold it 50 for this person's home. Have a little faith in me. Very successful. I want you. Very, very successful.
To Nuttall, something's off with the interview. Why did the detective jump to conclusions so fast? Why did John Rutten lie? According to Nels and Sherry's colleague, his ex-girlfriend was quite problematic, and Sherry wasn't afraid to bring it up in conversation. But what really throws Nuttall off is that there's nothing else to listen to. In 23 years of investigations, 3 other detectives reopened the case, but none of them ever considered conducting a second interview with John to ask about Nels' claims.
Not one
but
time?
He knows he won't be the fourth to pass on the idea.
That's crazy.
He contacts John, who relocated to the Bay Area, remarried, and had children since then, and sets up an interview. From the get-go, he adopts a very different tone, wasting no time to bring up his ex, the story at the hospital, the home invasion, the stalking. He doesn't miss a beat and even recalls information that had never been recorded in their files until recently.
They said, hey, we got a bite mark here, and that could be a female. And then I said, I got to talk to you about Stephanie. And I told him that she went to go see Sherry.
Did you give the name Stephanie Lazarus?
Yeah, I gave him the name, and I said she's a police officer. Do you guys think Stephanie did this?
We have strong suspicion.
One of my concerns is that was never, appears to be recorded.
And we know by
I'm not trying to be inflammatory.
There's a certain level of frustration on our part. More should have been documented. We're now forced 23 years later.
So hold on, he did tell them. So he told them as soon as he found out about the female bite mark, he told them about his crazy ass psychotic ex-girlfriend, and they pretty much probably told him, oh, she has nothing to do with this. We already checked it out. Wow. But why didn't you pass the polygraph? I hope they circle back to that. I want to know why you didn't pass the polygraph. What exactly were the questions that he failed during that polygraph?
They'll literally almost start over again because we lack the documentation.
Not only does John give their suspect a name, he also explains that while he and Sherry were engaged, he had been cheating on her with Lazarus, even though he knew she was obsessed with him. In college, when the two were dating, she used to steal his underwear and sneak into his dorm to take pictures of him as he slept.
He should have been...
You knew she was crazy, dog. You mean to tell me she was stealing your drawers and taking pictures of you while you was bucking naked sleeping, and you didn't think that was going to be problematic the time you got married to somebody else, and then after you get married to somebody else, you continue to knock down this psychopath's walls?
Emotional damage.
Bro, you wasn't thinking at all. You was thinking, but not with this head, with the other one. I'm gonna let y'all fill that in.
Frank with her instead of leaving.
They say the crazy ones got some. Oh, never mind. Let's keep it PG. You know what I'm saying? They say the crazy. You know, if you older, you know what I'm talking about. The crazy ones got some. Yeah.
In Iran, and kept putting fuel to the fire.
He tried to protect himself by diverting the information about Stephanie.
He didn't behave as a husband that loved Sherry.
By that point, Lazarus is no longer a police officer, but a full-fledged detective. She's armed, and her office is just down the hall from Nuttall. To make sure nobody intervened with their investigation, as they had with Frances, the detective decides to send men to follow her around and recover anything she throws in the trash. From this endeavor, they recover a used soda cup and send it to Frances, who then confirms that Lazarus's DNA matches the one found on the bite mark. Nuttall then prompted his team to lure her into the LAPD suspect treatment unit, the only place in the building where no guns were allowed, and to falsely claim that they needed her help for an interrogation with a difficult suspect.
Come on, please have a seat. So, this is, I didn't want to bring this up in front of your squad, but do you know John Rutan?
John Rutten?
Rutten.
Oh yeah, I went to school with him.
You did?
Yeah.
What you guys?
Look at the lies. John Rutan? John Rutten? You dated this dude. This is not somebody you went to school with. You might have saw in science class and be like, hey, remember we used to have science class together. You used to sit in the back. No. This is a person you was throwing that ass to in the back. Come on now. You was sleeping with him when he was married to Stephanie. Not Stephanie, you are Stephanie. You was sleeping when he was married to what's her name? I forgot her name. The one that's passed away. Respectfully, rest in peace. But still, now you acting crazy. That's already a sign of guilt. You acting like you don't even know a person that you was sexually obsessed with for mad years.
Friends, close friends?
Yeah, we're very close friends. Yeah, I mean, we dated.
Oh, okay. All right, okay.
You know.
Okay, she came out with it. I ain't give her the benefit of the doubt because she's already guilty. All right?
I mean, what's this all about?
Well, it's relating to his wife. Did you ever meet her?
Well, I think. God, it's been a long time ago. Yeah, I mean, I don't, again, I mean, what, I don't understand why you're talking about some guy I dated a million years ago.
Well, do you know what happened to his wife?
Yeah, I know she got killed.
Did you ever fight with her?
You mean like we fought?
Yeah. Did you ever duke it out with her?
No, I don't think so. I mean...
You'd remember that, right? That would be pretty...
You would remember if you've gotten into a fight with your ex-boyfriend's wife and y'all is fighting each other. How the hell, ma'am, if you can't remember that, turn in your damn badge. If you can't remember fighting your ex-boyfriend's wife, turn in your badge now.
Yeah, I would think so. I
pretty
mean,
specific.
Yeah, like I said, I mean,
traumatic.
obviously, I mean, it just doesn't sound familiar. I mean, what are they saying? So I fought with her, so now, I mean, they're saying, okay, I fought with her, so I must have killed her. I mean, come on. I mean, that's insane.
Right.
I mean, if you guys are claiming that I'm a suspect, then, I got a problem with, with that. Okay? So, if you're doing this as an interrogation, you're saying, hey, I'm a suspect. Well, now I got a problem with, now you're accusing me of this? Is that what you're saying?
Stephanie, you have the right to remain silent. Do you understand?
Yes.
Anything you say may be used against you in court. Do you understand?
Yes.
You have the right to the presence of an attorney before and during any questioning. Do you understand?
Yes.
Do you want to talk to us right now?
No.
All right. Okay.
This is crazy. This is absolutely. I'm like in shock. I'm totally in shock.
There were.
You in shock because you thought you cleaned up all the evidence quite nice. Ma'am, you are in shock because you thought you got away scot clean. Scot clean. You thought your life was good. Not only did you think you got away with it, you also elevated from police officer to detective. You feel like you are untouchable. You have beat the system. And thanks to DNA, the system came back to beat your ass. Let keep going.
Kind enough to come to our home and let my parents know that they had made the arrest. I mean, I cried because I was so excited, number one, that justice for my sister, but also for my dad.
Nels was upset with me, and he was very animated. It was sort of like, Detective, where have you been for the last 2 decades? I have explained this to your organization. I've explained this to your investigators.
He was always diverted. He was told repeatedly that he'd been watching too much TV.
For the first time since Sherry's murder, everyone is on the same side. Jennifer Francis presents her DNA test results and recounts the retaliation she endured within the LAPD. Nels Rasmussen steps forward with the warnings he tried to give from the start and how he was ignored for decades. And John Rutten, whose testimony had been tampered with and whose contact with Sherry's family was restricted by police, finally speaks openly. Together, they testify.
The fact that Sherry's death occurred because she met and married me brings me to my knees.
Nuttall's investigation takes 4 months. The trial lasts 3 weeks. The jury comes to a conclusion in less than a day. After 26 years of struggle, Sherry and her family finally receive justice.
The jury in the above entitled action find the defendant, Stephanie Eileen Lazarus, guilty of the crime of murder of Sherry Rasmussen.
It was just like a rush of relief that it's over. Relief for my father that he finally was vindicated and he had his answers.
In 2023, Lazarus admits 37 years too late that she killed Sherry. In exchange for her confession, she's offered a shot at parole. By then, Nels had already passed away, but before his death, he recorded a statement to be used at hearings. The board saw it in 2023, and it will be shown again whenever Lazarus attempts to get released in the future.
Wait a minute. Why would y'all... Hold on. Wait a minute. You catch her. She gets a plea deal because she's going to say she did it? Why would you offer her a plea deal where she could possibly get parole at all? She was a corrupt police officer that killed somebody, tampered with the evidence, lived her life for 23 damn years. And just because she said, oh, y'all got me, could I potentially get out one day? I hope to hell y'all don't never allow her to get out of jail for this, because this is some bullshit. If she ever gets out, that is some bullshit. Ain't no way in hell she got scot clean away for 23 years, living her best life while this family has been in torment, living day to day without justice. This is a good father. This father was a good father. He made it his life's mission to crack the case on what happened to his daughter. Okay? I can guarantee he never slept the same ever since this day happened until the day that your ass was locked up behind bars, man. Now, we're going to go back so we can hear exactly what he wants to be played every time she goes to the parole board. But also, we got to remember, because she is still a girl in blue, right? You know, they say the boy is in blue. She's a girl in blue. You know, she's a part of the police system. They may still try to work out something for her to get out. And if they do, that's crazy, but I would not be surprised because crazier things have happened. Let's go back a little bit because I want to catch every sentiment of what he's saying. He wants to be stated whenever she goes up for parole. All right, let's check this out.
Lazarus attempts to get released in the future.
If one looks at the damage that she did to my daughter's face, it's almost like she wanted to destroy the beauty that Sherry exuded.
Today, Sherry's legacy continues, not only through her family's long-lasting fight for justice, but also in the lives of the Rasmussens' next generation.
My mom always told me stories about when Sherry and her were in nursing school and how Sherry really liked the hard cases with the cardio patients. I always thought, well, you know, I can totally see why she would totally love this, the nursing and taking care of people. And I went into nursing school because of my Aunt Sherry.
My youngest daughter, Jessica, got married in February, and my mom said, well, why don't you try on Sherry's wedding dress? She liked Sherry's wedding dress, so my mom said, go ahead. So she took a little bit of her aunt with her on her special day. That's one example of how we keep her in our lives every day.
Okay, getting me a little angle out. You know what I'm saying? It's hitting your boy. Hitting me, man. Whew. Breathe. To this day, Jennifer Francis and the Rasmussens are still seeking accountability from the city and the LAPD. You ain't getting shit from the LAPD. We already know that. Their lawsuits have failed twice, but they keep fighting. It's because people have passed away. The detectives that probably worked this case all those years ago probably not on the force no more. And the LAPD is not going to be granting stuff like this because all this new evidence we have, as they continue to search back and look at mishaps and things done the wrong way, you kind of open up the floodgates for many lawsuits. So the minute you start saying, okay, we're going to grant this lawsuit, grant that lawsuit, every attorney who got DNA evidence and they go back and find that y'all done mishandled the case, they finna sue y'all ass. So they ain't doing that. LAPD ain't gonna do that. They can't afford to do that. You know, and I understand why, but I get the family though. Like, yo, y'all was negligent in handling my daughter's case. But it was 86. Things was not done thoroughly. You know, as the advancements came in with DNA, thank God the father stayed on top of that, man. He did what a father's supposed to do. Right? He did what a father's supposed to do. Never gave up, man. You know, I commend that man for that, and rest in peace to Sherry Rasmussen. Very smart, intelligent woman, gone out of jealousy. And this is the world we live in. Always stay observant. You know, she peeped that somebody had been following her. Now, if my wife ever came to me and told me somebody's following her, I'm following her to work, right? To see who's following her. And I'm also giving her a gun to protect herself. You know what I'm saying? Because we ain't doing none of that. We see signs like that, red flags like that. We ain't doing none of that. You know what I'm saying? But this is 86. Times were a little bit different back then. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, this was a crazy one. Let me know what y'all thought about this one. I think it's done. Let me see here. It is. I didn't know if this was going to pop up a little, you know, check out the Patreon that they did. If y'all want to check out this full video without hearing me on it, this came from Unseen. Go to the Unseen channel and you can see this video without my narration and other stuff they have. But I'm going to be checking out more of their stuff and reacting to it. So yeah, make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what y'all thought about the video. Till next time. Peace.